like Senator Hanson and Senator Babbitt, of course, who doesn't, his term doesn't expire for 3 years. Moving on, the other co-organiser for this evening was Angela Rojas. Angela is a mum of young teenage girls. She's published a children's book, Be Cautious Little Ones, to teach her daughters about stranger danger. This was inspired by her years in the martial arts. She has been the treasurer, I didn't know that. She has been the treasurer on the school's governing council and a volunteer in the school library. After COVID, she homeschooled her daughter for 2 years and became aware of these inappropriate books in her library. Not happy, she decided to take action. Could you please welcome Angela?
The slides up. Yeah, I did 8 years of Tang Soo Do martial arts. I used to teach the children's classes.
Remind me of that when we have our next argument.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Tonight I'll be talking about sexually explicit books for children in our public libraries and SA schools. I started this journey as a concerned mum, but now an accredited classifier and assessor for videos and games. February 2 years ago, I gave a deputation speech at my local council at Playford, Sex Resources for Children in our public libraries. I wasn't allowed to show the images as a PowerPoint presentation, as the images were too sensitive for their live stream meeting. A month later, I received a memo response regarding my deputation suggesting that I contact Public Library Services South Australia. I decided to call the Australian Classification Office, and I was told on the phone that books do not get classified, unlike adult magazines. I wrote to the Public Library Services about my concerns. They hold the position that books should be free from censorship, and when it comes to children, it's the responsibilities of the parent. Not satisfied, I took a few books to my local police station. The officer did not know what to do and referred me to Consumer and Business Affairs. I called Consumer and Business Affairs. They didn't know what to do and referred me to the Ombudsman or Legal Services. I called the Classification Board again. They told me to contact the Licensing Enforcement Branch, a branch of SAPOL. The next day, I received an email from the officer in charge telling me to contact my local council. So they sent me a one big loop. Next slide. March last year, I gave another deputation speech at Port Adelaide and Enfield Council meeting, Sexually Explicit Books for Children in Our Public Libraries. The Friday before I gave my deputation, I received this email. Dear Angela, my name is Abby Dixon. I'm currently the acting CEO of the City of Port Adelaide and Enfield, my usual role as Director Corporate Services. I've been provided with a copy of the handout you wish to provide to elected members in support of your deputation at next week's council meeting. The material that you have provided contains images which are very explicit, and there's a risk that they cause offence to people at a public meeting. I appreciate the nature of these images form part of your deputation. However, I believe you can describe the nature of the material and your concerns without having to present the images in a public meeting. Should any of our elected members wish to view the material, they can contact you directly outside of the meeting. It is important elected members have a choice in whether they wish to view this type of material or not. I trust you understand my responsibilities in ensuring this meeting is a safe environment for everyone in attendance, and that your handout needs to remove the sexually explicit images in order for this to be distributed. I was allowed to offer councillors and mayor 2 versions of the handout, censored and uncensored versions, and began my deputation reading out this email. Next slide. I'm going to go through some boring things, but you'll see a common theme about these publishing guidelines and policies and classification. Penguin Random House Terms of Use. So this is when you publish, when you submit your works for publishing. Your user submissions may not include any negative comments that are connected to race, national origin, gender, sexual orientation, or physical handicap, or that are defamatory, slanderous, indecent, obscene, pornographic, or sexually explicit. So they're not allowed to publish anything that's sexually explicit or pornographic. Next slide. How about Kindle? Direct publishing guidelines. Offensive content states, we do not sell certain criteria content that we determine is hate speech, promotes the abuse or sexual exploitation of children, contains pornography, glorifies rape or pedophilia, advocates terrorism, or other material we deem inappropriate or offensive. Next. South Australian Public Library and South Australian Department for Education online policies. Next slide. Acceptable use policy for using the library Wi-Fi or computers. It is prohibited or unlawful to gain access, transmit, publish, or communicate any material that is pornographic, obscene, defamatory, offensive, objectionable, abusive, indecent, sexist, racist, menacing, or otherwise illegal. Illegal. But you or your children can go to the shelf, pick up a book and self-checkout. Next slide. Responding to online safety incidences in South Australian schools, teacher guidelines. Illegal and harmful content. Children and young people may be exposed or seek out inappropriate online content. Online content includes text, imagery, animation, sound, and video. Examples that depict or promote include sexually explicit behaviour and pornography. So a teacher must report these incidences when it occurs peer-to-peer, but is it okay for them to teach it? Next slide. Classification. Okay. When it comes to classification, regardless of the format it is in, as a guideline, they follow these principles. Adults should be able to see, watch, play, and read whatever they want, whilst minors should be protected from things that may harm or disturb them, or that they are not suitable for them to watch, play, see, or read. A submittable publication is defined in Section 5 of the Act as an unclassified publication that, having regard to Section 9A of the Classification Act or to the Code and the guidelines, to the extent that they relate to the publication, contains depictions that A, are likely to cause the publication to be classified RC, which is refused classification. B, are likely to cause an offence to a reasonable adult to the extent that the publication should not be sold or displayed as an unrestricted publication. Or C, are unsuitable for a minor to see or read. With all these policies, guidelines and laws I have gone through, there seems to be a confusion on what the terms offensive, pornographic and sexually explicit mean, and a lack of enforcement. Okay, next. These are some screenshots from the classifiers tools for games classification for sexualised imagery and nudity. These images from many of the sex instruction books and graphic novels, if treated equally to film and games, would more likely be legally restricted, MA15 or R18. And going on with those books, a lot of people have heard about that Welcome to Sex books and seen some of those images. If those books appeared in a TV documentary, they would be classified under film classification. That book in particular, Welcome to Sex, would be R-rated. Next. Oh, sorry, I didn't give a warning. These are some screenshots from the, this image is a screenshot taken from the Classifiers Training Program for video games. This is an example of an M rating of a still image of a sex scene. This rating is, keep this rating in mind as I show you a book example for comparison. Next. The amazing true story of how babies are made was added to the Premier's Reading Challenge book list in 2016 for reception to grade 2. That's 5 to 7 years old. Late 2023, this book was deleted from the Premier's Reading Challenge book list just by exposing this book and asking this question: is this book suitable for reception to grade 2? So I took this book to a number of events, exposed it, and it was deleted from the Premier's Reading Challenge list. Next. Oh, one of the images is missing. There was 3 books examples that we have. These 3 books, there was one in the middle, the image didn't show up. The book's called Icebreaker. All of these 3 books have one thing in common. They have the same legal classification, unrestricted. A book for 5-year-olds, a book for adults. The one was targeted to teenagers, called Icebreaker. The book called Icebreaker, I've been going around talking to a lot of parents, door knocking for my petition, which I'll talk about a bit later on. A teacher spoke to me and was telling me about this book called Icebreaker. He works in the high school, and he said this book has the same equivalent language and sex scenes as 50 Shades of Grey. So I borrowed the book and I read it, and no, he wasn't kidding. It was very explicit. I haven't read 50 Shades of Grey, but it was very explicit. Next. Okay, the petition. To be clear, I do not support the idea of book banning. This petition seeks an audit of our libraries for submittable publications, classification and conditions on how these books are accessed and displayed in our public libraries and school resource centres, a borrow by request, where a minor must be accompanied by a parent or caregiver. If you haven't signed it and you are a South Australian resident, please do so at the end. Even if you're not a parent of a school-aged children, you may have grandkids, nieces, nephews, or friends with children, or you just care about the children in our community and wish to support, please sign. So far, I have around 5,000 signatures. We need 10,000. This must be done physically in South Australia. South Australia is the only state that cannot do electronic petitions. So my petition is on that table down there. And if you can help collect signatures, there's spare sheets, there's an envelope, there's sticker labels. If you can post them back to me, there's no real time frame. It hasn't been presented yet. How moronic is it when adult elected members in our local councils find content in books targeted to children offensive, yet at the same time, federal government will award a shortlisted pornographic children's book in the Prime Minister's Literary Awards. In the past few years, I've spoken at many events, and many adults I've spoken to are shocked by the images and content in these books and share my concerns. In 2006, there was a crackdown on corporate pedophilia, advertising companies who earned incomes from the sexualisation of children through advertising their products. How much royalties, grants, awards, and lending rights reimbursements and publishing companies and authors earned from the sexualisation of children through selling books? Is it another form of corporate pedophilia? What do you think? Changes start with the adults in our communities. It's time to take action. Thank you.
So I interviewed Angela back in 2023, just before the referendum. And the interview, if I may say, I know there's a market for this topic because that interview got 250,000 views, if you remember, Angela, from all the clips and everything we posted. And so very clearly there are people suffering in silence. They're curious. They're tuning into this. This isn't pie in the sky stuff, but they didn't know about classifications and the way it's being abused, with video games, with books, with everything. So thank you, Angela. I'm looking forward to posting that up. Our next video is, and we've got a couple videos, then we're going to go straight to the panel, quick videos. The first one's from Alex Newman. Alex is an award-winning international journalist. He's an educator, author, speaker, investor, a nationally syndicated radio host and consultant. He's the president of Liberty Sentinel Media and hosts a nationally syndicated radio program. Alex has written for a wide array of publications in the United States and abroad. He currently serves as a contributor to the Epoch Times, a correspondent for the Law Enforcement Intelligence Brief, foreign correspondent and senior editor for the New American Magazine, a writer for WND, WorldNet Daily, a contributor to a range of magazine and education for the Freedom Project, and a columnist for the Illinois Family Institute, and much more. The guy's been around. And I want to just introduce his video, which we're going to play, and then I've got another one for you.
Hey guys, Alex Newman here. It is a great honor and a great pleasure to be with you today. It's an honor to be working alongside Rachel and Aaron and some of the other superstars, some of the superheroes involved in this incredible international campaign to protect our children from perverts, and yes, I said perverts,